All right, welcome back to another episode of Beer, Bacon, and Bros. Tonight, just Chris and Keith. We are getting ready to do our Week 9 of college football matchups.
That's hard to believe.
Isn't it?
It's hard to believe.
Isn't it, dude? It's so crazy.
5 more weeks and we're done.
Yeah, if you obviously missed it, we didn't do a Week 8. I was out of town. We didn't even do a show last week.
He's out of the country.
Yeah, so... we did wrap up Week 7, which was a horrendous week for us. Nobody won more than 3 of the 10 games. That was Alex and myself and Austin, who was on the show at the time.
Which one did we actually sweep? Oh, Clemson. We all said that too. Clemson was going to find a way to Clemson that game and win.
Yeah. So we all got USC wrong over Utah. So yeah. So
and we all probably said A&M, or did we even do the homework game last week?
We didn't do any games last week.
Or 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry. Oh, that's right, we did. That's right, never mind.
Yeah, so...
carry on.
Records, you are still winning, 44-25. I'm 1 game behind you, 43-26. Alex and Adam both at 41-28. So, even with a bad week, you still stayed in the lead.
Still three games ahead.
Yeah, still stayed in the lead. So, Alex and Adam will turn in their picks since they're not with us tonight before college football starts, but you and I will obviously need to break down some of these games as we get ready for the week. So, we appreciate you, as always. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for us if you're already a subscriber of ours.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, that's literally just what I wanted to say is thank you. We appreciate it. Completely free to you. Means a lot to us. Grow the channel. Over 145 subscribers right now.
Let's go.
We welcome you to the family, and as always, we love when you hit us in the comments. So always feel free to leave us a comment.
We'll respond back every time.
One way or the other. I either like it, dislike it, love it. We'll find out. So,
or come back and do a video about it. So,
and I'll talk shit about it. So, as always, make sure you like that video for us as well. Really helps us out on the channel. So, first game for us this week: East Carolina and BYU. 5-3 East Carolina going to 4-4 BYU. This is actually a Friday game. Sorry, it's a Friday game, 8:00, ESPN2. The line on this bad boy is 3. BYU is favored by 3.
So it's basically a pick 'em. Because they're getting 3 for being at home.
Yep.
With the way BYU has been playing, this just makes it so hard. Like if BYU was, 6-2 at this point, 7-1. I mean, I think this would be an easier game to pick.
Yeah.
But the way BYU's been looking, I haven't watched ECU, so I have no idea how they've looked all year. I mean, who have they beat? They just killed UCF. Good God. Which is why you lost them.
Yeah. Beat Memphis in 4 overtimes. Memphis is a very good team right now. Tulane is actually a really great team. Yeah, Tulane's ranked. And so that a loss at Tulane's not surprising. I think the worst thing for East Carolina was that
loss to Navy.
Yeah, in double overtime. But for BYU, you've lost to Liberty, you've lost to Arkansas, you've lost to Notre Dame. Don't get me wrong. Decently named teams. Not great teams right now.
You didn't just lose to Liberty. You got your ass handed to you by Liberty.
Yeah. Who's not a great team. Like, I want
to
be clear about that.
They don't have Malik Harrison.
It's not the same. Yeah, this is
Malik Willis, whatever his name is.
Yeah, this is not the same Liberty from last year. So for BYU, it's gone pretty south in the last 4 or 5 weeks.
I think I'm gonna have to give the edge to BYU on this just for being at home.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to go BYU just because they're at home. They've killed me so far this year, but I just think because they're at home, that's what I have to go with.
Man, Holton Allers and Jaron Hall are really 2 great quarterbacks that nobody knows about. And these 2 guys, usually I'll take a team because of their quarterback, depending on the matchup. These are 2 really good quarterbacks, 2 really good offenses that have the ability to run the football and have the ability to throw the football. Holton, I got a little bit of left-handed love to that guy. You just don't see left-handed quarterbacks anymore. But I mean Tua and Tim Tebow. That's pretty much all you can name. But and Michael Vick, of course. But this guy can throw the football all over the field. Holton, talking about for East Carolina, and so I'm just gonna. Just because I think ECU's playing better right now, I'm going to go with them in this matchup for me. But 2 really good quarterbacks to watch. And next matchup, somehow Notre Dame has gotten back to 4-3, and they're on the road at 6-1 Syracuse, obviously coming off a disappointing loss to Clemson. Noon game on Saturday for them. Syracuse actually just a 2.5-point favorite at home.
I think Notre Dame has a good defense. I mean, Syracuse just played a really good defense in Clemson. I think Clemson's defense is the backbone of that team. I think that's what's gotten them to where they're at right now. It's clearly not the offense because DJ Uiagalelei, whatever the hell his name is straight up garbage. He was garbage last year too. I really like Syracuse. That running back they got is fantastic. Their quarterback Schrader's looked really good all year. They got a really good wide receiver. Give me the Orange at home.
Yeah, this was a clear, easy one for me. I don't really kind of understand why Notre Dame is only a 2.5 point underdog on this. I think they should be like an 8.5 point underdog. I think Syracuse didn't do the right things to win the game last week. 100% true. But Sean Tucker, the running back at Syracuse that you're talking about, fantastic running back.
He's looked really good. Schrader's been really good quarterback too.
Garrett Schrader almost came to Carolina actually. From Charlotte, went to Mississippi State, transferred to Syracuse. Really good quarterback, athletic, mobile, can get out of the pocket. He's made some mistakes here or there. Young quarterbacks are going to do that. But I like Syracuse to win this by almost 10 points probably, in my opinion.
I like Syracuse in this. Especially being at the Carrier Dome.
Yeah, especially at the Carrier Dome.
It wasn't the Carrier Dome anymore, but yeah.
Yeah. So SEC matchup, we got Arkansas at Auburn. At the moment, Auburn is a 3.5 point dog.
Auburn's got the line.
No, they're a 3.5 point dog at home.
Then that changed from last week. They were favored last week. I don't know about this one. I own Auburn in our fantasy league. Arkansas is just looked god awful the last couple of weeks. KJ Jefferson does not look good. Really, the only thing that scares me on that team is Rocket Sanders. I mean, he's the only person that really scares me on that team. I mean, Auburn's their quarterback's been looking better. They've had better quarterback play. I don't know who to take here. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, for me, I'm leaning Arkansas, and I'm going to take Arkansas ultimately. And I think for me, it's more just about the quarterback play. KJ Jefferson hasn't been fantastic, but 14 touchdowns to 1 interception is good enough to get the job done. Rocket Sanders is obviously a great running back. I think Bigsby has been a really good running back for Auburn this year, obviously. But
Tanks looked really good this year.
When you look at it, you look at Arkansas, they've lost to A&M, which was a bad loss. It was in Dallas, though. I mean, it was in a neutral site game, and they could have won it. Getting beaten by Alabama and then beaten by Mississippi State, not really that big a surprise. Those are two good teams in the West.
They blew that game, Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Ole Miss. I'm sorry. No, they played Ole Miss yet.
A&M was the blown game.
That was the blown game.
Yeah,
okay.
for Arkansas. So, and I just think Auburn. I mean, they're 3-4. They have beaten Missouri. Of course, they've lost to LSU, Georgia, and Ole Miss, which are really good teams outside of. I mean, LSU's really not that great.
Yeah, but
they're there.
They had to go to overtime to beat Missouri.
Yeah, I know.
Let's be honest.
But I mean, Auburn is so ready to fire Brian Harsin. I mean, I just feel like that team's got to give it up at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Arkansas for me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Arkansas on that as well.
Okay.
Just from those points that you just made, with them being that ready. I mean, they're like you said, they're ready to pull the trigger on Harsin like that.
I saw a funny thing that they want to replace Brian Harsin with Ed Orgeron.
I did see that.
That would be amazing to hear Coach O go Tigers one more time.
It's still the Tigers.
Yeah, it's still the Tigers. So
yeah, they're talking about bringing back old dumbass too.
Gene Chisholm?
No, the other
Gus
dumbass.
Malzahn?
No, the other dumbass. Our dumbass, Les Champ.
Oh, please, yeah. Please say Will Muschamp. Please do that.
Y'all can take him from Georgia.
Please do that.
Take him from the special teams.
Not something I expected to say, but Oklahoma, who's 4-3 and 1-3 in the Big 12, is facing 3-4 Iowa State, who's 0-4 in the Big 12, and Oklahoma is only a 1-point favorite on the road at Iowa State.
Yeah. Oklahoma did turn it around and look good last week against Kansas.
Yeah.
After that debacle to Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, Iowa State coming off a loss to Texas. I lost to Kansas State. I lost to Kansas. I lost to Baylor. Yeah,
exactly.
I think old Burt Vegetables will come away with a win on this one. I'm gonna go Boomer Sooner.
Man,
with as bad as Iowa State's looked this year, I don't think Ohio. I don't think Oklahoma has been great, but I think they'll come away with a win in this one.
There's something here that we don't know? Because I feel like this line should easily be a touchdown. Like I look
Either
at this,
way.
I look at this and I say Oklahoma should be a 7-point favorite, and they're not. And I'll be honest with you, when I look at Iowa State, and yeah, they're 3-4, they're 0-4 in the conference. They lost to Texas by 3. They lost to Kansas State by 1. They lost to Kansas by 3, and they lost to Baylor by 7. They have played close games, and they just haven't come away with one yet. I'm calling it this week. They're coming away with it. I'm taking Iowa State over Oklahoma. Everything says Oklahoma should win this game, but there's just something in me that says Oklahoma's going to find a way to lose it. So,
fair enough.
All right, Miami 3-4, 1-2 in the ACC. Virginia 3-4, 1-3 in the ACC. Miami a 2-point favorite at Virginia, 12:30 on Saturday.
Fuck the Hurricanes. I'm going with Virginia.
Virginia's beaten Georgia Tech. They've lost to Louisville, lost to Duke, lost to Syracuse. Miami has lost to Duke, beat Virginia Tech, lost to UNC, lost to Middle Tennessee State, and lost to A&M. They're not playing Tyler Van Dyke. Armstrong's thrown 6 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. This may be one of the worst games of the day on Saturday, but it's a close one, so it's in our pick'em. You going Virginia?
Yeah, Miami's absolutely done nothing to prove to me that they're going to projected to win 9 freaking games, and they lose 4 out of their first 7.
Man. Hell, let's do it. I'm with you. I'll take Virginia.
I mean, tell me one thing Miami has looked good at this year, besides losing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and it's tough because Mario Cristobal is a guy that you gotta like. I mean, he's been good at Oregon, and he's from Miami, so I mean, you know, you just gotta feel for the guy. But dude, I mean, I thought Tyler Van Dyke was supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football, and this guy has just—he's
been horrific.
I mean, he's questionable for this game against Virginia. I don't know. I mean, this is almost a pack it up and hope for next year kind of moment for Miami. So
I mean, they just got the shit beat out of them by Duke.
I know.
Who I own too. I should have played Duke.
Apparently. So, all right, staying in the ACC. Number 10, Wake Forest. They're 6-1. Going to number 4 and 3, Louisville. Wake only a 4-point favorite at Louisville.
I think I'm just going to have to go with Wake on this. I think Wake has proven to be the better team. Louisville has struggled a lot in a lot of their games. I still think they're still trying to struggle to find an identity. Malik Harris has not been what he was projected to be this year, or Blake Cunningham. Yeah. He hasn't been what he was projected to be. I mean, he was supposed to be the second coming of Lamar Jackson, and he hasn't really been that good of a player. And I just think Wake with that offense, and I mean, yes, they give up some points, but they can march that ball down the field faster than half the other teams in the conference.
Yeah. I talked with former Louisville quarterback Kyle Bolin yesterday about Louisville because I was just like, hey man, you know, this is supposed to be an 8 or 9 win team that, you know, they have a chance of being an 8-win team. I don't think they're going to do it, but you know, what's going on with your Louisville team? And he said, dude, Scott Satterfield's not the answer, and
they take Marcus.
Yeah, and ultimately he just like when you watch Louisville this season, they don't have. He called them dogs, but they don't have guys that are motivated to play. Like they don't play.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They don't have energy.
They don't have people that are going to go out there and have that killer instinct, that you know, fighter mentality to gut it through the hardships of the game.
They play super weak on defense. They don't actually try and tackle. You know, they give
Lorenzo Ward their defensive coordinator.
Nah, maybe. They give up on routes, things like that. And so for me, like I do think that Louisville has played better the last 2 weeks with Virginia and Pitt. Those have been 2 good wins for them. They've played ball control from what I've watched of those games. And maybe that keeps them in this game with Wake. But I have yet to see Louisville be able to defend a good quarterback this year. And so for me, I got to take Wake. And I think that 4-point line is just weak. I think Wake by 10 is probably fair.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with that.
Okay.
Their quarterbacks played much better than any other quarterback in the conference.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that. I do think that Sam Hartman has probably played better than anybody else. He's thrown 21 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. I mean, it's
that's been missing 2-3 games.
He missed the first 2 games. Yeah. So Sam definitely had a great year so far for him. So Moving into a little bit of that American Athletic Conference action, we got number 20 Cincinnati, who's 6-1. Hard to believe. I would
have thought they'd been up there.
Yeah, I would not have thought that Cincinnati would be able to stay 6-1 this year after losing all that they lost. Going to not ranked. Going to 5-2 UCF, who's coming off that tough loss against East Carolina. Right now, this is a pick-em in the bounce house in Orlando.
I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, well, as a former owner of UCF in the College Fantasy League, I'll tell you that UCF, if you get them into a situation where they have to throw the football, as much as I like John Rice Plumlee personally, he's not a good enough quarterback to throw the football. All right? He's not good enough to get them up and down the field, and they got some good receivers, man. They really do. They got a transfer in Baker from Alabama that is really good. Hudson that transferred from Auburn, also really good. So it's disappointing. I think UCF, if they had a better quarterback, would be an undefeated team this year. But John Rice Plumlee can run the football. That's why he's got 500 yards and 7 touchdowns. But just if you get them into a situation where they have to throw the football, like they're down 2 touchdowns, they're done for. UCF can't get them come back, which is how East Carolina beat them this past week. So for me, Cincinnati has scaped by, right? They've gotten by they've gotten by SMU by 2 points. They've gotten by South Florida by 4 points. They've gotten by Tulsa by a touchdown. But I think I like Cincinnati in this one to be able to just be aggressive on offense and get up on Central Florida and put them in a position where they can't come back.
Okay. See, I was thinking, me personally, UCF at home. That place is
the bounce house is a bounce house for a reason.
That place gets rocking. I mean, they're it's a raucous crowd.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you do make a lot of good points about the quarterback not being the type of guy that can move the ball down the field with his arm. And if you put them in a position, like you said, to have to play from behind, where they have to throw the ball, I think Cincinnati can sit back and play center field essentially and just pick them off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Cincy as well.
Okay. All right, rocking into our next one. This is the home team, I guess. What would you say?
We're homers.
Yeah, homers. So Missouri, who's 3-4, 1-3 in the SEC, coming to number 25 South Carolina, who's 5-2, 2-2 in the SEC, and ranked number 25 in the country.
First time being ranked since 2018.
Yep. 4:00 game on Saturday. South Carolina currently a 4-point favorite over Missouri.
So I think Missouri is at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the SEC, especially in the East. I mean, they struggled with Vanderbilt last week. I mean, I know they got the win, but it was a damn struggle.
I think you had to put Vandy at the bottom of the barrel, but Missouri's right there with them.
They're at the bottom. I didn't say they were the bottom of the barrel, I said they're at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And after seeing what Carolina did last week against A&M, granted, I think we snuck by. We snuck by, but we snuck by. We kind of jabbed them a little bit, and they didn't know how to react by getting that opening kickoff and then scoring 17 points within the first 2.5 minutes of the game.
Yep.
I think Carolina's going to have to run the ball a lot more than they did last week. You can't put the ball in Spencer's hands because Spencer hasn't clearly been able to move the ball down the field efficiently in every single game. I think you give the ball. I think Carolina wins this game if you give the ball to Marshawn Lloyd and let him touch the ball 20 or 25 times.
Yeah. So you're taking South Carolina? Yeah.
As much as I don't want to, I do. I'm going to take them.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I'm also going to go with you and take South Carolina on this one. I do think the 4-point line is actually respectable here. Missouri, when they've won football games this year against Vandy, against Alcorn State, they've been in close games with Auburn and Florida as well. They've
nearly beat Georgia,
and they've nearly beaten Georgia. Yeah, they've run the football.
Right.
And so for South Carolina, you've done a good job so far this year of only allowing 168 yards a game on the ground, which is a very respectable number across college football. So for me,
especially in the SEC when you got big running backs.
Yeah. And so for me, I think if you can hold Missouri to under that 200 yards a game rushing, you're going to be able to beat Missouri because Missouri has given up passing yards. Now Spencer's obviously got to be better. He's thrown 8 interceptions this year. Not all of them.
Not all of them were his fault. I'd say about half of them were his fault.
Yeah, and so we have to be able to move the ball in both facets of rushing and passing the ball offensively. I think we can outscore Missouri, who hasn't scored but about 24 points a game this year.
What I would like to see, outside of Marshawn getting the ball 25 times running, I would like to see a lot more slants and curls.
Yeah,
I think if you hit the slants over the middle, with a Juice Wells, with a Josh Fan, an Austin Stogner, I think if you hit those slants, some of them can go for long yards, but a lot of them are gonna help move the sticks.
Yeah.
You keep your offense on the field, you tire out their defense. It's gonna make the game, a lot easier, a lot more attainable for you to win at that point.
Yeah. Cook, the Missouri quarterback, has struggled with turning the football over this year. So for me, I think
we've been very opportunistic in the
turnover game. Yeah. So for South Carolina, I've continued to say it for weeks: win 2 of the 3 facets of the football game, win defense and win special teams. For us this week, I think it probably ends up having to be win offense
and win turnover
battle or special teams. So, all right, next to last team, we got Pitt versus North Carolina. Somehow, North Carolina has very quietly become 6-1, 3-0 in their conference, and number 21 in the country again.
You know why they become 6-1?
Yeah,
that quarterback.
Yeah,
Drake May.
Yeah, 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2,200 yards. Has the best numbers in the ACC, possibly the best quarterback in the ACC right now.
Absolutely, it's between him and Hartman.
Yeah, North Carolina's only a 3-point favorite though at home.
Well, I think they get that because Pittsburgh still has a pretty stout defense.
Yeah,
and is Slovis still pitched still?
Yeah, Slovis is still quarterbacking for Pitt. He's obviously back. Had been injured for several weeks.
I mean, Slovis definitely gives them an edge.
Yeah,
makes them a better team. But I think I'm still gonna have to give the edge to Drake May and North Carolina at home in this one. I think Drake May. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they're 6-1, and that's because of Drake May.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that should have North Carolina fans on the edge of their seat for this week. May is the team's leading rusher at 378 yards and 3 touchdowns. That is not good if you're North Carolina.
No, it's not.
And they're only averaging 179 yards per game on the ground as a team, where they're averaging 330 passing with Drake May, obviously. The other thing for North Carolina, your defense is giving up 476 yards a game, which is atrocious. And so for Pitt, I mean, there's a couple things that I think Pitt can do to keep themselves in this game, which is run the football, and they have one of the best running backs in the ACC, in Mbaka. I'm just going to call him Mbaka. That's not his actual full last name. I have no idea how to actually say it. But the guy's got almost 1,000 yards, and we're only 7 games into the season. He's got 13 rushing touchdowns right now. This guy could be a 20-touchdown guy by the end of the year. So I think Pitt has the tools that they can keep North Carolina's offense off the field, consistently score on all the drives, take these long periodical drives out. I think Pitt has a chance. And so for me, they haven't played well, at Louisville. They lost to Georgia Tech a couple weeks ago. They beat the crap out of Virginia Tech. They've played super inconsistent, but I think
everybody's beat the crap out of Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and so I think I actually like this opportunity right here for Pitt to come into number 21 North Carolina and pull the upset this week. Sure. You were taking North Carolina though, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna take North Carolina. I'm giving the edge to Drake May.
Okay. All right, our game of the week. It's not college game day because they're going to Jackson State this week, but our game of the week. I don't know. Our game of the week, number 9 Oklahoma State, coming off a big win against Texas that they had to do a big comeback in. They're on the road, 3:30 at number 22 Kansas State. Kansas State 5-2, 3-1 in the conference. Their only loss in the conference is to TCU. Same thing for Oklahoma State. Both teams have lost to TCU. Kansas State is a 1.5-point favorite at home.
Mm. So they're really giving the edge to Oklahoma.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know what I meant. I mean, after seeing them come back last week on Texas when they were down pretty good, and they were in a shootout with TCU, right? It was overtime.
It was a double overtime game with TCU.
Mm.
And Kansas State was beating TCU and very quickly gave up 21 points in the third quarter to let TCU back into it. ultimately lost.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go OK State on this. I think they're gonna. I think again, quarterback play here. I think their quarterback was it Sanders.
Spencer Sanders.
Yeah, Sanders. I think is the better quarterback over Adrian Martinez, or Aiden Martinez, whatever his name is.
Adrian Martinez.
Yeah, I think Spencer Sanders carries this team and would carry them to a win at the away game, at the away opponent.
Oh man, this is a good game. This is going to be a really good game on
I know. I think it's going to be a good game because Kansas State has a good defense, typically. But yeah, I think. I mean, I think Oklahoma State can put the points up, and I think they're going to continue to just march down the field the entire time.
I'm gonna go Oak State too, but I'm gonna go Oak State for a different reason than you did. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, all right, I really like Adrian. I like both these quarterbacks, by the way. Spencer Sanders, Adrian Martinez, two totally different paths. Spencer Sanders been at Oklahoma State for forever. Adrian Martinez transferred in from Nebraska.
Two different styles too.
Martinez has really made Kansas State relevant. Like he has been such a big. Skylar Thompson was a fantastic quarterback for them last year. Martinez has actually stepped in and probably been better than Skylar was. And so, for me, it's hard to go against Kansas State, but I'm going to go against Kansas State for this reason. Kansas State is only averaging 170 yards a game through the passing. They are averaging 233 yards a game on the ground. Oklahoma State's defense has only given up 146 yards a game on the ground. So I'm going to say that the one facet of this game that's going to give Oklahoma State the advantage, their defense, which has been very good this year in my opinion, is going to be able to hold Kansas State's ability to run the football enough to give Oklahoma State the advantage to throw the football, which they're averaging 313 yards a game on the ground through the air, where Kansas State's giving up 230 yards a game in the air. And so, for me, I'm going to take Oklahoma State's ability to throw the football versus Oklahoma State's ability defensively to also stop Kansas State in the run game. So that's what's going to be for me the reason I pick Oklahoma State.
There you go.
So okay, all right. Well, we're going to put a wrap on our Week 9 college football picks. Hopefully, we're a lot better than we were in Week 7.
Can't get much worse.
It definitely can't get much worse. So. As always, we welcome you to hit us in the comments. Let us know who you like on our pick'ems, or if there's another game that you want to call out, make sure you call it out. We'll be welcome to leave you some comments on it. And as always, we appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe.